One of the common experiments you need to do for science, particularly physics, is to have a look at Hooke's law. This requires looking at the extension of a spring by placing different masses on here and looking at the extension of the spring. It's a very easy experiment, one often done by students in year 7 or 8, but with a few extra tweaks, this can become a very good and accurate experiment used at GCSE. Let's take a look at the setup for Hooke's law. We need a clamp, stand, bosses, clamps. I've got here a long ruler that is about 45-50 centimeters long, and I'm using a mirror that I can put behind the clear ruler. We set up the spring, which is quite a fine spring. It's got a pointer at one end and a hook the other, and what I can do is just set up a couple of small masses on there just to hold the spring still so we can have a look at it. What we're trying to do is set up this weight with the little pointer, and we can see the pointer reflected in the mirror, and when I move my head to the right place, I can then see the image of the wire in the mirror, and I can line that up with the image of the wire, and when they're in line I can read off on the scale accurate to about 0.5 millimeter. Right, when the camera is too high, we see the image of on the mirror of the wire below it, and as you move your eye down, so the wire and its image in the mirror come in the same place. But if you have your eye too low, then you find the image of the wire in the mirror is above the ruler. If you haven't got your eye absolutely level, then you can't get this reading accurate enough, and that's what you want for your practical examination. Let's have a go at the experiment. I've got, first of all, a reading here, and I've set this at 18 centimeters with 20 grams on. We're now going to place another 10 gram weight, and this then moves up and down a little bit, and I'm going to try and put my finger below just to try and level it off, and we get our first reading of 19 centimeters. That's 30 grams, 19 centimeters. Let's place our next weight on. So we've now got 40 grams, and at 40 grams we are on 20.4 centimeters, I read it as. Let's place another one on. And here I've got 50 grams at 22. Let's put another mass on. So 60 grams at 23.2. My mirror's now not in the right place, so I'm now going to lower my mirror, keeping everything else the same. And now I'm going to put on my next mass. So this gives me 2, 4, 6, 7, so 70 grams. And this one is at 24.9. We put on 80 grams. and when we hold it still, this is at 26.2, 90 grams, and this one is coming in at 27.7. And finally, let's put on 100 grams, and this, just at the bottom of my mirror, is at 29.1 grams. I've only put 100 grams on there. I could put more mass, but in fact this is enough to get the graph that we want to try and record all the information that we need. So now we've done this experiment, there are a few other experiments using Hooke's law that we can look at. We can now do a few other types of experiments. We can look at replacing this one spring and putting on 2 springs or 3. We can take this one spring and we can replace it with 2 springs to see what happens. And then we can try this same experiment replacing the spring with an elastic band. A spring follows Hooke's law. An elastic band does not. And we can also try this with other types of plastic which don't follow Hooke's law at all and in fact rip and break.